This is Let's Talk Big, the big read with Jane Berger and Jen Hazel. The Owens Community College Campus Big Read is taking place now and throughout the semester, with the goal of bringing awareness of different perspectives through books. The Campus Read book is A Little Less Broken, How an Autism Diagnosis Finally Made Me Whole by Marian Schembari. It's the story of one woman's decades-long journey to a diagnosis of autism and the barriers that keep too many neurodivergent people from knowing their true selves. Now, sharing passages, topics, and events related to the book are Director of Library Services, Jane Berger, and Professor of English, Hazel.
Welcome to Let's Talk Big. I'm Jen Hazel, and I have with me Jane Berger and our guest, my esteemed colleague, Cory Hoover, Professor of English. Welcome, Cory.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to see you. Thank you for coming.
It's good to be here.
So, Jane, do you have a passage?
I do.
It's a short one for us today, aren't we?
It is. And we're in the middle of the book, page 102, if you wanted to look it up and read along. In London, I could be eccentric and brassy, but that didn't mean I was inherently broken. I was just American. After years of feeling inadequate, navigating London on my own made me feel confident and grown up, even special. The history of the city and the constant barrage of newness kept my brain engaged and away from self-hatred. And to be loved by this boy in this quiet way meant things must be finally clicking into place. Something she's longed for her whole life.
I know, right? Not to feel like an outsider.
Right.
And all the build up to it to begin with.
Right, exactly.
Cory, tell us your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was interesting after the previous chapter where we find Marian really struggling in college. And, she has to find some sort of organization so she can do her kind of mandatory international travel for school. And I just, at that point, felt heartbroken for her, So it was interesting to me that it took her an hour to find the organization. Like, it was really fast. She was on it and right away found something, and London was the only place she wanted to be, as kind of the precursor to this quote. I think because we already know or have hints at her diagnosis so early in the book, you think, interesting, but also there's a little bit of trepidation, I think stereotypically most people think that someone that has an autism diagnosis needs a certain kind of stability, certain types of repeated routines and things like that. So to think about Marian embarking on international travel kind of by herself.
I was just going to say alone.
Yeah,
Yep.
something so new. You think, oh boy, exciting, but, how is this going to affect her? And that's, as a reader, I think you're thinking through all of that.
Yeah, I think that's a super good and really interesting point, Cory. It's like, back to the point where you said it's like what we understand autism to be, we always think, because so much of it is based on, as the author tells us and other research tells us, that it's based on like white males, and so it always looks like that. But she is an adult female. Well, she would be if she,
in college, sure.
right, and she is able to fly. And so it's quite interesting to that challenges that. I also thought just really funny in there is how she talks about like being an American.
Oh my gosh, I was just going to say that. Because to me, I've not been to London. I've heard it more often referred to like that in France, where they just have disdain for Americans because they think we're, classless and don't have any couth and, are just these rambunctious, loud, yeah,
rude,
annoying,
rude,
yeah,
rude.
Exactly. Who bring millions and millions of dollars to their country,
right.
But they don't care. But that struck me too.
That it was like, yes, that it was kind of seen as like an American sort of
this is
thing.
the way they all are.
Like
another kind of label that is assigned to her, that doesn't seem too bothersome to her.
Right. Like,
Absolutely.
so I think that is, I think it's super interesting, and that I wonder for her, like, and she does talk a little bit about this, if it isn't more liberating, because instead of being the weird, different person in school, she's just a weird, different American, and Americans are just right,
or trying to fit into what everyone in her school or her group wanted her or thought she should be. She could just be herself, and it's just, it's what they think we're all like.
Right, because in one sense, she is, she belongs with Americans, so she has a belonging place, versus when she was in America and felt not to have a place.
Yeah,
I think that's a super interesting contrast.
I agree.
The dichotomy that's, like, happening there. That this is the most, like, lighthearted chapter of all of it.
It's really fun to read.
Yeah, it is. This part was really,
agree.
like, to see her, like, on this adventure that she is excelling at, that even someone who wouldn't be neurodivergent, that could be very hard.
I was thinking about that too.
Right.
I don't know that I would do that.
I don't know that. I know I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, and you can also chalk it up to her being really unique too, until you see that other autistic adults have the same experience, you know, that she mentions in the book. And I thought that was interesting, that international travel was absolutely liberating. You know, that was fascinating to me.
Good point. Very good.
Well, I think it's breaking down what that expectation.
Yeah.
The expectation becomes different, and in reality, you find yourself more of a home than before, because you belong in a way you haven't belonged.
Yeah,
when
and
you
there's
stand
less
out-
pressure.
Right, and when you stand out, it's because, well, you're American.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not because you are. But I also wonder if it isn't just the point of being independent in a way that maybe not independent otherwise.
It's kind of the best of all worlds. You still have the comfort of being under, like, the college umbrella,
Sure, right.
but you've got freedom, and you've got, you know, as we both have, or we all have said, that liberating feeling that, you know, you're not going to see these people again, most likely, you know. And so what's the harm if you can just let yourself be who you truly are? And I mean, I thought, wow, how cool, how fun to just finally let it all be the way it's supposed to be for her. I think that was very...
Yeah, and she dives in. She learns all kinds of things about the culture. She goes everywhere, does everything, meets all kinds of new people, and, you know, the I don't know how much I could say about what happens after this point, but, you know, her relationships are really interesting ones. Her extending the trip is fascinating to me.
Yeah,
But she doesn't go back right away.
I know. Yep, spoiler.
If you haven't gotten that far.
That's right, exactly. Makes you could read faster to get there.
So now, Cory, you are teaching this in your composition course and in your intro to lit. Intro to fiction, right? No, not fiction.
Just
You're going to do it in
composition,
fiction, just
yeah.
composition. Next semester,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's right. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, I don't think you're this far because you said you were, you guys kind of just started, but tell us a little bit about the reception that the students have had and maybe how you're utilizing the book.
Yeah, so this was interesting to me. So I took one particular class, my 11 a.m. class, to Confronting Biases with Grace Neal, right, that's her last name, to that particular event. And it made such a huge impact on that class of students. I mean, I think they're amazing just anyway, you know? But the response to Grace's presentation was really interesting to me. They were, you know, overwhelmed by it. They embraced it, and it really meant a lot. So even after that event, when we came back to class, students really opened up about things that they noticed in it, and students talked about siblings and others on the autism spectrum that they knew, and it was really an interesting discussion when we got back to class. So I was really excited to start reading the book and working with students after that. So there are a few ways that I'm using it. So the first is to just give chapters of reading, taking it little pieces at a time, and then asking them to write when they get to class. So we did that once so far, so we're not very far into the book. And I just asked them to identify a passage within the first few chapters and talk about why they thought it was interesting, important, poignant, why they questioned it, whatever their response might be. And students said a lot of really interesting things about the book, including things about the writer's style even, which I did not anticipate, but works perfectly in a composition class.
So give us a sneak peek. What kinds of comments did they make about
Well,
the style?
actually, before you give us that sneak peek, we're going to take just a short break, but more. Cory will be back with us very, very shortly. So stay tuned.